also going to be recording the session. So if you want to look back at it later, or if you want to share it with colleagues who may not have been able to attend today, I'll be sending out the link to the recording, as well as some helpful links that Michelle has put together after the session, probably towards the end of the day. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Michelle. Michelle, welcome to Tech Tuesday.
Hi, thank you so much, Vanessa. And hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today for a session around the Web of Science. As mentioned, my name is Michelle Fleetwood. I'm a solutions consultant here at Clarivate, working with academic as well as government partners around all of their data and analytics needs. With me on the call, I see he has joined us, Chris Atade. He's the account manager for Cornell for the Web of Science. He's another great resource. I'll be sharing both of our contact information at the end of the slides, which will be shared afterwards as well. So if you want to reach out to either one of us, please feel free to do so. Again, if you do have any questions during the call today, please feel free to put them in the chat and I'll be sure to attempt to address all of them. If not, I'll be sure to follow up on anything that I've missed. All right, so I'd like to begin with just a brief review of what the Web of Science actually is, what kind of content we have on the platform, and how the data is structured. We recently launched a new user interface with enhanced workflow, so I'll highlight some of those that I think may be most useful to all of you. And then we'll dive into the product itself. I'll show you how to create a search and how to analyze the results of those search. So again, just wanted to start with a review of what the Web of Science is. So this is a citation database designed to support research in many forms. So the figure on the left-hand side shows all of the indexes or the collections of records that are housed and easily searchable within the Web of Science platform. And the platform includes specialty hosted content. So it does have the Medline database, which you can search within the Web of Science. We also have some hosted regional citation indexes. We have specialty content such as zoological records or biological abstracts, which have some specialty indexing and curation of those records, making discovery of certain biological systems much easier. We also have patent and data collections, so our Derwent Innovations Index and our Data Citation Index. So this is where you can find patents and data sets or data studies and link them to literature. And then at the heart of the platform is our Web of Science core collection, which is a searchable database of records and citations to literature from over 21,000 journals, covering content back to 1900. We also have conference proceedings, books, and more. So a lot of content within the core collection. And within this core collection, there are more specific indexes based on content areas. So our science citation index, social sciences, arts and humanities, and so on. And I've tried to indicate with green stars which indexes you currently have access to on the platform. So you can go into the Web of Science and easily search any of these things with green stars next to them. And in addition to using the Web of Science, which is a web-based platform, we do also have API offerings that may be helpful if you may be completing a large-scale project, or possibly you may need to inject Web of Science data, citation data into an external system. There are API offerings related to the Web of Science as well. So if you have more questions about APIs, do feel free to reach out to myself or Chris afterwards as well. But this is kind of a high-level glimpse at what the Web of Science platform is. And now I'd like to spend just a little bit more time talking about the core collection, which again is really at the heart of this platform. So there are a lot of things that make the Web of Science and the core collection unique. But really the most important thing that we do that sets us apart from other databases and other tools is the fact that we index all of the cited references. And we do this for every single paper in those 21,000 journals that we cover. And we've been doing this type of curation and collection of the data really consistently since the 1960s, which again, a lot of scholarly literature databases do not do. So for a given article, we don't just capture the title, author names, and the abstract, but we also capture the entire bibliography or works cited list. And then we use these citations to create links between all of the papers in the core collection. So we connect each of these papers to a giant citation network of interconnected publications. So you can really kind of move through the literature, move through time to see how an idea or an innovation has developed over time. Some other things to note about the Web of Science is that we are publisher neutral in our selectivity of journals. We do not capture every journal in the world because our philosophy is really to curate the best of the world's literature, kind of in order to save you time. Again, we have over 21,000 journals in the core collection. Each of these is then indexed or kind of fit into these indexes on the left-hand side, kind of again by content coverage and discipline. And then I've also included a link here at the bottom for our master journal list. This is a website you can go to and kind of browse all of the journals that we have in the Web of Science. So if there's a particular journal that you're interested in, you can really easily check to make sure that it's part of the Web of Science by this link here. Another thing to note is that journal impact factor, the Web of Science data, is the source data for a journal's journal impact factor. So any journal within our science citation index, as well as our social sciences citation index, will receive a GIF every year. So once we do select a journal for inclusion in the core collection, again, we are selective in which journals we include, but once they go through our selection criteria and become indexed into the core collection, we become a kind of vacuum for data. So again, we capture all of those citation counts, so the complete bibliographies for each and every single paper. So you can see exactly how many times a paper has been cited, with links to those citing papers. So again, you can go back and forth in time based on citations. We also capture complete author information. So we capture the names of every single author on every paper from all of the papers in the core collection. Even if there are thousands of people that are on a particular paper, they will all be captured. And because we do author capturing, we also take their affiliations or the addresses that they list on their publications. And with these author affiliations, we do a lot of work to standardize affiliation names to a parent organization within the data. So you can easily see all of the publications that are authored by faculty and researchers at your institution. So really easy to see, the output that's coming from Cornell. And then another thing I want to mention is that we do capture funding information, and we've been doing this since 2008. And by capturing the funding information, you can really start to understand, the funding landscape and start to connect outputs to particular grants. And in a couple of slides, I'll actually talk about how we're evolving the funding information that you can see within the Web of Science. All right, so over the last year, we have built a completely new platform on the Web of Science. It's a lot more modern looking. It's also a lot quicker, so page loads are super quick. And with the new interface, we've really been focused on the researcher and your experience when you come into the platform. We've been super responsive to feedback we've received from users as well. So if there's any different, workflows or key tools that you want added to the platform, you can directly give us feedback through the Web of Science. And once we go into the product, I'll show you exactly where you can suggest a feature or enhancement. And these features that you request goes directly to our development team. They then, evaluate feedback and prioritize it. into their roadmap and whatnot. Alongside the enhanced feedback that we're providing, we've also have integrated a tool within the interface to provide contextual help. It also provides walkthroughs and links to customer support. Again, trying to meet needs of researchers there in the platform. So if you have an issue, you can easily reach out to us. There are other key enhancements here kind of shown on this slide, some of which I'll talk about a little bit more thoroughly in the slides to come. But we've enhanced cited references. So for each paper that you, every record you'll see exactly, you know, where a reference was cited. Was it in the introduction? Was it in the materials and methods? Kind of just giving you a bit more context into why a paper may have cited something else. Additionally, we do have a mobile application for the Web of Science. It's called My Research Assistant. You can download on your iPhone or your Android and easily access Web of Science content on your mobile phone. So just want to talk about some of the, I think, most useful enhancements that we've made to the Web of Science. One of them is actually an existing functionality that's been in the Web of Science for a few years now, but we've been improving it over the last couple of years. So within the Web of Science, we have what's called an author search tool. This can help you find, you know, all of the papers either you or another author has written within the Web of Science. And it also allows you to curate this set of publications to make it as accurate as possible. And, you know, not only will this help others discover you, but also allows you to kind of see all of your output and impact all in one spot. So this author search functionality is based on an algorithm that clusters papers together based on an author's name as well as their affiliation. And you can search for an author either by their name or by an identifying number like their researcher ID or their ORCID number. And then based on the algorithm that we have, these author searches lead to author records. This algorithm within this search learns from feedback. So it uses artificial intelligence to learn from user feedback. It also receives feedback from registered Web of Science users. So if you're in the Web of Science, if you're registered and signed in, you can give us feedback on an author record and let us know if something is not correct. This feedback obviously is reviewed by a team here at Clarivate before any changes hit the system, but these can be curated. Authors also can go into the Web of Science, search up their name, and then claim a record themselves. So if you claim your own record, you can, again, curate your list of publications and make sure that everything is correct. But from within an author record in the Web of Science, you can see an author's affiliations, all of their publications in the core collection, along with some metrics to better understand their impact. So all the times that they've been cited, their H-index, and so on. And one of the most recent enhancements that we've made to these author records is really regarding the metrics that you'll see. So of course, you know, the H-index and sum of time cited are useful metrics. However, no one's career can really be boiled down to a single number. So we've been trying to follow the best research evaluation practices and really want to support the research community and help them practice more responsible research evaluation. So we've introduced these author impact beam plots, which is shown here in the center of the page. And essentially these beam plots show the percentile rank of each paper that a person has authored. And it's for each year that that publication has been authored. It's also, it's a normalized metric. So we normalize each paper to its category that it's within. So is it a psychology paper or is it a biochemistry paper? Also normalize it to the year that it's published. And then based on the number of citations that that paper has received, it's again normalized and placed in a percentile. And this is really to help you, understand the content of the citation counts that you see within the Web of Science. Again, just a way of trying to make responsible metrics more widely visible and easy to access in the product. If you do want to learn more about beam plots, I've included 3 links here at the bottom of the slide. There's our long white paper kind of going into depth into this particular type of metric, along with a quick video and guide if you want to learn more about that. Additionally, we are working on adding contextual information. So I've kind of alluded to this already, but contextual information to citations in the Web of Science. So again, although citation counts can be super helpful in determining the usefulness of a record, again, that research evaluation and metrics are evolving. So with this additional citation context, it's really designed to capture the author's intent when they're citing references in the body of the article. So you can see, how many times a reference was cited within an article, kind of letting you know how impactful it was to the author, what references were cited in proximity to each other. So you can, start to see which references may be most related to one another. And then, where in the body of the article was it cited? So you can see why the reference may have been cited. So was it in the introduction or the materials and methods? Again, kind of indicating why it may have been cited. So this is a pretty new enhancement, I'll say. So not every record in the Web of Science core collection will have this new feature. But as we develop over the next couple months this year, we will be adding this to more and more records. And then something I also alluded to was that we're also working on enhancing the funding information that's visible in the Web of Science. So we've already done some work by adding additional data sources. So we now have direct integration with grants details from the NIH, from FedReporter, from NSF, from ResearchFish, and from Kaken, which is in Japan. And with these direct funding streams from the funders themselves, we can add more details and data to the funding information within a Web of Science record. So for some records in the Web of Science, you'll start to see what was the grant title, the grant description, the actual award amount, who were the primary investigators, what was the awarded institution. So a lot more information around funding can now be seen in the Web of Science. And just like the cited reference, enhanced cited references, this is something that's currently in development. So again, as time goes on, more and more records in the Web of Science will start to have this additional data. So before we go into the product, I do want to point out some of the resources that we have. So from within the Web of Science, there are links for a few things, one of which is product updates. This goes to our release notes where you can keep up to date on new features added. We also have a training link that takes you to our learning page. This has guides, quick videos, and links to other live trainings. And then if you have any technical issues or access issues, we also have a link to our customer support page where we have a team available for chat. You can call them or email them, whatever way you want to get a hold of us. There are links for that too. And before we go into the demo, I do want to say I have an appendix kind of at the end of the slides here. So just some search tips for you if you want them to help you search the literature. So again, these slides will be shared, but there are some slides after this kind of giving you some tips on searching within the Web of Science. Alrighty, so let's switch over to my browser. Let me check the chat really quickly. I don't see anything though, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Whoops. All right, so I'm already in the Web of Science here. We will be searching the new Web of Science interface. So if you're used to the Web of Science and this looks a little bit unfamiliar, it's because we recently launched a new interface and this is what it looks like. Of course, if you want to go back to the old Web of Science, you can just click on this products button here at the top of the page and go back to the classic or older version of the Web of Science. Additionally, you'll see there are links to some of our other products here. So again, Master Journalist, if you want to look at the journals that are within the Web of Science. Publons, if you're familiar with Publons, it's a public profile showing your publication and review activities all in the same spot. Our journal citation reports, and then if you have EndNote, you can link to your online EndNote account directly from here as well. Also want to point out the resource center that I was just talking about. So here at the bottom of the page is a little purple question mark. If we expand that, then here are all the links to those helpful things. So again, product updates, have some guided tours, training, and then help and contact if you have any issues with the Web of Science. So just wanted to point out all the links to helpful things are here at the bottom of the page. All right, so getting into the bulk and meat of what's here on the page. So this is your search box here in the middle of the screen. By default, I'm searching within the Web of Science core collection, but you can select whatever database that you want to search within. So again, we have hosted content, we have specialty content as well. So our data citation index, Derwent, which again is our patent index. And as you hover over each of these databases, you'll see there's a little educational pop-up to the right of it, just letting you know what that database is all about. But we're going to stay within the core collection for today. You can then select which editions you want. So again, within the core collection, we have those kind of content specific indexes. So I'm just going to again search within all of them. And then there are a couple of different ways that you can search the Web of Science core collection. You can do a document search. We do have advanced searching here at the bottom too. So a link to go to our advanced search. I don't think I'll have time to show advanced search today, but if you're really savvy with the Web of Science, you may want to go to our advanced search functionality. We also have author searching, as I mentioned. If you want to find a particular author, researcher, that's where you can search for authors. We have our cited reference searching and structure searching. Again, I won't go into either of these today, but if you want to search for a chemical structure or want to find all of the citations to a particular work, that is what you would do. I do want to point out we do have guides for all of these types of searching in the help files. So if you do want to do that kind of search, feel free to look there. So I'm just going to start with a document search and do a topic search. So you can also select what field you want to search within. So a topic is going to search title, abstract, keywords, keywords plus. You can search for a specific title. You can search for an affiliation. So again, we do standardization of affiliation names to a preferred or parent organization name. Which maybe I'll show that off in a second. But there are a lot of different fields that you can search for across here within the core collection search. So let's do a topic search. I'm going to search for precision medicine. As I type in these two words, there's an implicit and operator between precision and medicine. So if I search for this as is, it's going to search the title, abstract, and keywords for those that have precision and medicine within them. Additionally, one of the search tips there in the appendix of the slides is to put quotation marks around a particular phrase. So if I put quotation marks around precision medicine, I'm now searching the titles and abstracts for that written as is only. So really looking for this exact phrase. So I'm going to search for precision medicine. Let's go ahead and add a row here. And I'm also going to search for the affiliation. And we'll just go search for Cornell. So there is an index here. So for, again, all of the addresses, we map them to a preferred name. You can search those preferred names within this affiliation index. So I'll search for Cornell. Go down and see that there is a Cornell University. If I hit this little purple question mark next to it, up on the right-hand side, all of the address variants, name variants pop up. So you can see all of the different name variants that have been mapped to that preferred organization name. So I'm just going to click add next to Cornell, add it to my query, and see that that's now popped up as the affiliation I'm going to search. So you can add more rows, add a date range for the publication, but we're going to go ahead and search. And we're taken to our search results page. We have 237 results within the core collection that meet our search criteria here. If you want to, you can modify this search directly by clicking on this search bar. You can, clear out the search you've already done or add more fields if you want to hone in your search just a bit more. Additionally, if you are collaborating with someone on a project and want to share search results with them, we have this copy query link here. You can easily copy this query, paste it in an email, and send it to whoever you're working with, and they'll then be taken to this exact same results page within the Web of Science. All right, so going through the search results page, you can, search within your results for a particular refinement. We also have a long list of filters or refinements that you can easily add here on the left-hand side. So our quick filters here at the top, if you want to search for publications that have associated data. So those are publications that have a data set or data study that they used. Here, they'll have a little icon next to it. So you'll see here that this second hit has associated data within it. You can also easily look for review articles, early access, open access. Scrolling down though, you'll see just the amount of filters that you can add to your search. So if you want to look for a particular journal or publisher, that is another filter. Open access is a widely used filter. So if you want to look for a particular type of open access, you can do that. If you want to search for publications funded by a particular agency, you can also add those filters here as well. So lots of different filters you can add to again, focus your search a bit more. So here in the middle of the page, we have a list of those 237 publications that meet our search criteria. You can easily add these to a marked list if you want to come back to them at a later time. You can also export these records. So clicking that export drop down, there are a few different ways that you can export this data. So if you have, again, EndNote, you can export to either your online application or your desktop application. Additionally, we have Excel, RIS, lots of different features here to export these records. These are also sorted in a particular way, so you can choose which way you want to sort these by date to see, what's the newest research coming out, or, by citations to see what's the most influential research in a particular field. So we'll keep it at sorting by the highest citations first. And you'll see for each of these records, there's a little preview of what that record's all about. So we have title, some of the authors, the first 3 lines of the abstract. You can always see the entire abstract if you'd like to. You can also clearly see how many times it's been cited. You also see as I hover over it, it's a link. So anything that's kind of in purple on this page is a link. So you can link directly to anything that is purple. So you can link to those 1,500 citations. You can also link to the 64 references that this paper cited. We also have related records, which is another kind of discovery tool. So finding publications that have similar references to those. So if you want to kind of expand your search, that's one way of doing so. In this kind of preview mode, we also have links to full text. So you'll see there's a couple of different options for full text. If Cornell has a link resolver, that will also be here, that can take you directly to the publication as well. So let's click into one of these publications just to see what they look like. So I'll click on this second one here to show you what a full record looks like. So again, full text links here at the top. You can also export a individual record if you'd like to. Again, we capture a lot of data for each and every record that's within the Web of Science. So again, all of the author names. We also capture their Web of Science researcher IDs as well as their ORCID numbers. So we do have a daily feed from ORCID that gives us these ORCID numbers. Some information on the journal, the entire abstract, as well as keywords. If the author gives keywords, we also apply a tool called Keywords Plus. So if no keywords are given, this is another kind of tool to help you discover more related works. Again, all of the author affiliations. Scrolling down, you'll see that this particular record does have associated data from our data citation index. So you can link directly to this record within the data citation index. You can also link directly to the external source if you want to see what this data study actually is. Below the associated data table, we do have funding information. So we do capture funding information from funding text within the publication itself. But as I mentioned, one of our newest enhancements is that we have that direct feed from the funder themselves. So if you want, you can click to show details. And scrolling down, you can see, what was that total award amount, who was the primary investigator, and some more information on this particular grant. So just a lot more details for you to kind of explore within the funding data given for a full record. Beneath funding is some information on the journal that it was published within, with the journal impact factor clearly labeled here. And then at the bottom of every full record is the cited references of this particular paper. And again, all of these you can link to directly. You'll see that their citations are also pulled out for you to view as well. Some other things that may be of interest are here on the right-hand side. So again, you can see this has been cited 537 times. It's a highly cited paper. If you don't know what that is, you can click on the little trophy to learn what that means. We do have a recommendation tool within the Web of Science that will recommend articles that may be similar. And you can also see who's most recently cited this work. So if you want to see, how are people currently using this particular piece of research, you can easily see that here on the right-hand side as well. So this is what a full record looks like. A lot of information for this particular record is shown here. We'll go back to our results. And one other tool I wanted to show off was the Analyze Results tool. So here at the top of the page is an Analyze Results button. And this kind of gives you kind of high-level analytics for the 237 results for this search. So we'll click on Analyze Results. And you can see kind of how each of these publications are sorted into categories. This is based on the journal that they're published in. You can also see different fields, so affiliations. Obviously, Cornell, since we searched for Cornell, is going to be the top affiliation here, but you can start to see, what other institutions are you collaborating on with this work. You can also see, who's funding these publications, so who's funding Cornell Precision Medicine publications. So you can see all of those funders, and as I hover over them, you can see that there's a little pop-up coming up that you can view the records in which the HHS is funding those publications and whatnot. So a couple of different fields that you can search across if you want to see what Cornell authors are publishing most frequently in this space. You can view that as well. This is in a tree map chart. You can view this as a bar chart, or you can hide the visualization altogether and go down into the data itself as you scroll down the page. So if that's more attractive to you, kind of having this in a table format, you can do that. And this table you can also export as well. So if you want to take this data outside of the Web of Science and analyze it further, you can do that by downloading the table itself. All right, so let's analyze results. Again, kind of a high level analytics tool for your search results. If this is a particular search you want to maybe, keep tabs on, if you want to see, what precision medicine publications come out of Cornell and be alerted of them, you can create an alert. Give this alert a name, and then you'll receive email alerts letting you know, another publication was added to this search, which you might be interested in reading. So you can create a search alert for this particular search, and then all of your search alerts that you have set up, you can easily find within this alerts tab. So I have some search alerts set up here. I have made them inactive so I don't receive emails, but you can then go and rerun the search within the Web of Science if you'd like to. You can also set up alerts for particular journals or receive alerts to citations. So if you have a publication and want to be alerted every time it was cited, you can set up a citation alert as well. So that's the alert functionality in the Web of Science. Really great if you want to stay on top of a particular field or topic. So that was kind of the basic search functionality. I did really want to show off our author search functionality just very quickly. So this authors tab brings up our author search. Again, you can search for a particular name or an author identifier if you know their author numbers. But I'm going to keep it with name searching. I'm going to search for Oliver Elemento, who showed up as the top researcher for precision medicine at Cornell. I think he's a professor of physiology and biophysics, but I'm just going to type in his last name. You'll see there's a kind of type ahead functionality coming up, but there's his last name, first name Oliver. Click on Oliver and hit search. I'm then taken to his author record here in the Web of Science. Again, this is algorithmically generated. So again, we have an algorithm that clusters together these papers. If you find something's not correct for a particular author record, you can always submit a correction to our team. Again, to do this, you must be a registered Web of Science user. Additionally, if you are searching for yourself in the Web of Science and see that something's not correct, you can always come in here and claim your record. And in doing so, you can make sure that all of the publications are correct. You can give us your organization name so that your affiliations are correct. If you claim it, you can also set up a little picture here to be in the Web of Science if you want to let people know what you look like. But really, it just gives you control over your personal profile here in the Web of Science. So scrolling down, some of the things that you'll see in an author record are, again, their published names. So there may be some variance based on what they've published under, as well as the organizations that they've been affiliated with. And these affiliations are coming directly from the publications themselves. So again, we capture affiliations directly from publications. You'll also see their publications here within the Web of Science core collection. This is looking kind of small right now, so let me see. I might have clicked on the wrong author. Let me reload this really quickly. All right, let's go back. Maybe I spelled this wrong. Might have been the other Olivier. Okay, so it looks like the other one was just a misspelling of his name. So in this case, we could submit a correction and have this record merged with the other record. So it looks like that might have just been a typo in, or maybe that's how he spells his name for some of his publications. But anyway, just wanted to go through this author record and show you some of the metrics and things that you'll see for an author. So again, you'll see all of their publications in the core collection. You can link to view these as a set of results if you'd like to view those a bit closer, but you can also link to these publications individually. You'll also see some metrics here on the right-hand side. So each index, sum of times cited, can link to all of the articles that cite this particular author. Next to the publications is a tab for their author impact beam plot. So as I mentioned, this is a new way of kind of exploring an author's impact and their publication's impact. So this is an interactive kind of tool as well. So as I hover over each of these little dots within the graph, it represents a publication of his. And you can kind of see, you know, what percentile doesn't rank within what category. I don't want to go too deep into how to read these, but again, we do have some helpful information as you scroll down into what, you know, all of the markings on the graph mean. You can also link to our help page on beam plots if you want to learn more for each of these. But again, really excited to have this new sort of metrics visualization in an author record to better showcase, you know, how people are performing and how impactful is their work related to, you know, their publications over time. Another way of kind of viewing an author's impact is to view their citation report. So underneath a citation network, there's a link to a citation report. So I'll just click this really quickly, but this is a nice way of kind of seeing a person's citations over time. You know, again, you can see all of the metrics here at the top for that author. You can see their publications over time and how that relates to their citations that they receive over time. Again, this visualization can be downloaded, and then scrolling down, we have this in tabular format as well. So you can really dig into the data here. So again, if you are a researcher author yourself and want to kind of see what are the citations you're receiving over time, what year is your most impactful in terms of the citations you're receiving, you can easily view that here. And again, everything that's within this table that's purple is a link, so you can link to all of these citations that he has received each year. So lots of good citation data for you to explore within a citation report. So with that, I want to pause. I went a little bit up close to our time, so I want to apologize for that. I do see one question has come up. So is the organization taken for each author or just the paper, senior author, etc.? That's a great question. So each and every author's affiliation is captured. So no matter what position author you are on the paper, your affiliation that you list will be captured. And this helps us, you know, with these author records kind of align and make sure that the organizations are correct. So I see that you said for that particular author record, the organizations didn't seem correct. Yes, so since those author records are algorithmically created, sometimes the data might not be, you know, 100%, and that's why we allow users to submit feedback and corrections on these author records, just to make sure that everything is completely and 100% correct on those. All righty. Any other questions? I don't think I see any on my end.
I don't have any on my end either, Michelle. I wanted to ask Drew Wright, one of our librarians, if he wanted to add anything about how to access it or anything that's important to know for Weill Cornell users about setting up an account, anything like that.
Thanks, Vanessa. Not really. It's always has to be accessed from the library homepage. So there is a Web of Science link right on the homepage under top databases that should be easily attainable and accessible and easy to see. It's in the same list that has like PubMed and Scopus and all of our other sort of like highly used databases. So always access it from there, whether you're on or off campus. And if you're off campus, it'll push you through the easy proxy system to get you authenticated and get you where you need to go.
Awesome, thank you. I do see that Iris asked a question about access. Iris, we'll be sending a follow-up email to everybody. I'll make sure to include the instructions on how to access Web of Science from the library's website. Oh, and thank you, Carrie, for doing that for me in the chat. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, but in case something comes up after this session is over, you know, I'm going to be sending out that follow-up question, follow-up email rather, and feel free to reply back, and we can answer any questions that you may have about Web of Science. But you know, for now, thank you so much, Michelle, for showing us more about Web of Science. It was a great demo. And thank you, Drew, for chiming in at the end there with some information about access. And, you know, without further ado, thank you guys so much for joining. Keep an eye out for that follow-up email at the end of the day, and have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Vanessa.